There are many things in the environment that can affect your dog in a positive or negative way and increase their stress levels. A completely stress-free life is impossible to achieve for either us or our dogs, and some stress is in actual fact necessary. It's all about achieving the right balance. One way to look at this is referring to stress as a bank. If you make a withdrawal, you also need to make a deposit. There are numerous factors that can affect your dog and deplete the bank, but there are also lots of little things that you could do to add a deposit that could reduce your dog's overall unhealthy stress. One way which can help understand stress and what it can do is referring to increasing stress as a bucket filled with water until it is so full it overflows. Another way, and the one I prefer, is Edie Jane Eaton's candle analogy. Anyone who has done free work courses will be familiar with the candle analogy. Candles are anything that causes stress or arousal in your dog or you. They come in different sizes and are different for each individual dog. If you imagine the candles heating a bowl of water, the aim is to prevent the water from reaching boiling point by extinguishing as many candles as possible, to enable your dog to feel more content. In picture 1, your dog is having a good day. Only a small number of candles are lit. The water is still and your dog is relaxed and calm. In picture 2, more candles are lit. The water is heating up and starting to bubble, and your dog may be restless, less focused, and more likely to react. In picture 3, multiple candles are lit. The water is boiling and your dog is hyper-aroused and likely to be reacting, though some dogs may be so overwhelmed that they shut down. By being aware of what our dog's candles or stress factors are, we can extinguish as many as possible. But as I said in the start of this presentation, it is not possible to extinguish all the candles, and we are the same. There will always be something we're thinking about or need to get done. After a period of arousal, the water still needs time to settle. So whilst your dog is recovering, they need a calm, safe space to rest. Next, I will discuss some of the possible stressors that can be candles for our dogs. I will look at general factors first, starting with relationships within the household. A strong human-canine bond based on mutual trust goes a long way to ensuring that the stress bank account has enough deposits. Making time to just be with your dog, with no attachment to outcome, is just as important as structured activities like walks, training activities and games. Other family relationships can also affect your dog. If there is a calm atmosphere within the family, your dog is more likely to enjoy that calm too, and calm dogs make good choices. If you have children, your dog needs a safe space that they can retreat to away from them, if they choose. Many small children don't understand that they can't cuddle dogs in the same way as they do with humans or their toys. It is good to educate children about subtle stress signs that dogs can show, like a nose lick or whale eye. And in multi-dog households, not all dogs get on like these two of mine in the photo. Dynamics can change between dogs depending on the situation. One dog may be the king of the beds whilst another is queen of the toys. If you notice signs of tension between your dogs, it is important to address this before it escalates. Similarly, if you live in a dog and cat household, all species need time away from each other or the opportunity to move away, which brings me on to choice. Promoting choice and control for your dog on a daily basis makes a huge deposit into the bank. Lack of choice and control has been shown in both humans and animal studies to lead to depression and feelings of helplessness, and lack of control in animals has been linked to abnormal repetitive behaviours such as pacing, circling and tail chasing. Many guardians believe they are offering their dog choice, but dogs can only choose from the options that humans provide. Our dogs have very little choices. We decide what time they are fed, walked, and even when they play. That's why it's vital to increase choice wherever you can. One way you can do this is on the walk. Let them sniff, stop, zigzag across the field if that's what they want to do. Dogs rarely walk in a straight line if left to their own devices, as they are drawn by each new scent. The photo on the right shows a dog tracking a pheasant. The red line shows the path the dog took, and the yellow path is the pheasant. Having clear boundaries is not about having a strict, rigid framework that your dog needs to fit into, but more about guiding them to make good choices. Increasing our knowledge and skills can help to meet your dog's needs more effectively. If a dog doesn't feel listened to, as well as adding to their stress, it will cause them to do louder behaviours to try and be heard. Being aware of what a dog is communicating through their body language will ensure that they don't need to shout. It is important to feed your dog an appropriate diet, but also to feed in a species-appropriate way. Dogs are born scavengers and enjoy foraging for their food, such as with snuffle mats or scatter feeding. However, this should be in the right balance so it is enjoyable and not too difficult, which will increase their stress levels. They should always have one easily attainable meal a day. If you are considering changing what your dog eats, always introduce any changes slowly. Diet plays a large part in the increasing number of dogs who live with allergies, as do other allergens found in the environment. This can affect their general health, as well as having inflamed skin, sore itchy ears and unsettled digestive tracts causing pain. It is estimated that up to 82% of behavioural issues are attributable to pain. Pain can be musculoskeletal from an acute injury or chronic from a long-term issue. It can be gut pain, which also has an effect on nutrient absorption and serotonin production, which can affect mood. Some factors such as genetics, epigenetics, stress that the mothering dog suffered when pregnant, and previous trauma may be outside of our control, but there is still a great deal we can do to lower their stress. Rescue dogs may be suffering from trauma which causes them to shut down, and here we can work slowly on building trust and resilience by doing activities such as free work that allow dogs to explore at their own pace and have no attachment to outcome. Dogs are sociable animals and will never relish being left alone, but for some, being alone is extremely scary. Managing separation anxiety can be extremely stressful for both the dog and the guardian. Dogs are also social sleepers and will sleep better with company. Getting enough sleep is vital for all dogs. Just like us, when our dogs are lacking in sleep, we often see behavioural issues increase. Adult dogs need between 12 to 14 hours of sleep to maintain good physical and mental health. Help your dog to get their sleep by creating a calm space in your house, free of sudden noise and distractions. Ideally, set up multiple places to give your dog choice. Next time your dog is having a difficult day, take a look at how much sleep they are getting. Rest for the body and mind can make all the difference. Different life stages can be confusing and stressful. Everything is new for a puppy, and ensuring your new puppy has lots of suitable experiences when young can help with resilience later on. Socialization should be thoughtful and at the puppy's pace. The photo on the left is my dog as a puppy going around the village in a shopping trolley, experiencing sights, sounds and smells safely before her full course of vaccinations. Adolescence can be a challenging time, as anyone who has had any contact with teenagers knows. Everything you have taught your puppy seems to have disappeared overnight, and dogs can struggle with over-arousal, impulse control and frustration. Of course, this can happen at any age, but teenage hormones don't help matters. Old age can also add to a dog's stress, as mobility and cognitive function decreases, and pain and health issues increase. It can also be a stressful time for guardians too, watching their loved dog slowly decline and their world get smaller. It is important that we always reach out for support and ways to relieve our stress to enable us to support our dogs more effectively through their life stages. This course has several lessons just for the human on your well-being, self-care, relaxation and building resilience. A big stress factor for dogs is not having their needs met. Being aware of what a particular breed was bred for can help to meet their needs more effectively. Great outlets include tunnels, agility, paddling pools, designating a digging zone in the garden, or sandpits with buried treasure. If you have a herding breed, controlling movement is a big natural reward for your dog. Herders love to stop and start movement. Outlets such as agility, flyball, and human tag are great, or man trailing for scent hounds. Many dogs love to dig, not just terriers who were bred to search for small rodents. Though of course all dogs, whatever their breed, can benefit from these different activities and enrichment. The previous slides have discussed some general factors, and I will now discuss more specific ways that we can reduce stress for our dogs. Some dogs can become unsettled at night. My senior dog, who is now 13 and a half, has a little cognitive decline, and with that he has developed a fear of the dark. It really helps him to leave a lamp on overnight. Dogs, like babies, are often quite put out by clock changes. They don't understand why their food is coming at a different time, or they wake up much earlier. Dogs are incredibly adaptable, but it can increase their stress if their routines change too often. Always introduce changes gradually. They may be affected by the stages of the lunar cycle. The moon has the power to control tides, so it does not take a huge stretch of the imagination to believe it can also affect behaviour in both humans and animals. Studies on humans with bipolar disorder have shown that the cycles between depression and mania were in sync with the lunar cycle. The exact mechanism that causes this is unknown. It is believed that those quick changes in mood were caused by a disruption to their circadian rhythm and their sleep-wake cycle. In one study in 2013, researchers discovered that around the full moon, people spent 30% less time in non-REM sleep, which is deep sleep, and slept for 20 minutes less than when there wasn't a moon. These changes were also associated with decreased levels of the hormone melatonin, which is naturally released at night to calm your body down and prepare your body for sleep. When melatonin levels rise, serotonin, our feel-good hormone that plays a role in controlling our mood and appetite, decreases. Being aware of these external forces can aid our understanding as well as support our dogs. Noise sensitivity can be a big issue for dogs trying to live in our modern, fast-paced world. For those dogs that are noise sensitive, just a little thing like a jangly dog tag could push them to breaking point, as they can't get away from it. You could try a metal tag that slips onto the collar flat, or an embroidered collar. Over 50% of dogs are afraid of fireworks and thunderstorms. If your dog is disturbed by noise, consider a white noise machine or play suitable music. And if your dog is fearful of fireworks, you could start a desensitization program several months before and ensure they have a safe space away from the windows. Similarly, if your dog is fearful of household appliances like vacuum cleaners, they may also need a desensitization program. And if they don't like the noise, then try to vacuum when they are out, or engage with a calming activity in another room. The weather can have a huge impact on dogs, and not just for those that are fearful of thunderstorms. I once had a dog that was always more reactive when it was windy. I don't know whether this was because the wind hurt her ears or ruffled her fur, or because it carried far more scent to her, but once I noticed this pattern, I was able to support her more effectively. Smell is the primary sense for dogs, and as previously discussed, sniffing is a great way to de-stress and decompress for dogs. However, some scents, such as those from scented candles or plug-ins, as well as being full of synthetic chemicals, can be overwhelming for dogs. There have also been cases of dogs developing allergic reactions or respiratory distress when exposed to candles. Also, they have no choice as to whether they wish to inhale them. An easy way to remove this stress is not to have them in the first place. They are also not very good for our health as they contain hazardous chemicals such as formaldehyde, acetaldehyde and acrolein, albeit in small amounts. Similarly, ultrasonic pest controls can have a detrimental effect on a dog's behaviour. We may not be able to hear them, but a dog's hearing is more sensitive. There has been anecdotal evidence of behavioural changes occurring when they are introduced, and behaviour returning to how they were previously when they were removed from the house. Equipment can cause stress for some dogs if they have a harness sensitivity. It may be because they are fearful of something going over their head, in which case a harness that comes apart in several pieces that clip together may help, such as a perfect fit one being modelled by my dog Zeb, or it may be that the harness is causing them pain because it is fitted incorrectly or they have sensitive, painful ribs or spine. Slippery floors can add to a dog's stress and affect their gait and cause injury. Think how you walk when you know the ground is icy. It is difficult to concentrate on anything other than where your feet are, and this is the same for our dogs. If you have hardwood floors, put non-slip rugs down or paint tiles with non-slip resin. Ensure that dogs' water bowls are not too close to the wall, forcing them to have their back to a room or in a tight space. Some dogs may prefer a little den for their bed in a small space, but for others this may be scary. Always be led by your dog. Doorways, particularly in multi-dog households, can be a source of stress, frustration, and occasionally conflict. Simply being aware and teaching your dog impulse control can help. Though our dogs are domesticated, they are still living in an unnatural, confined environment, and their senses are heightened towards noticing any changes. They will pick up on yours and other family members' energy, both positive and negative, and this can affect their mood and behaviour. Any planned changes to the family dynamic, such as additional family members, both human and non-human, should be introduced sensitively and with preparation to decrease stress. If a dog has been practicing a behaviour for some time, it is going to take patience and understanding to address that issue. Also, many natural behaviours for dogs, such as jumping up, barking and scavenging, may be seen as undesirable behaviours from a human point of view, but always ask yourself, what is your dog trying to communicate with that behaviour? And is there something you can do that will mean they no longer need to practice it? This presentation has given you a few suggestions on how to reduce a dog's stress to healthy levels, which is fundamental to their well-being.